Imagine a man who was so powerful he could delete your gods. Imagine a king who could force you to leave your home, your family, and your history behind to follow him into the middle of a literal wasteland. And imagine that when this man finally died, his own people were so relieved that they didn't just bury him, they erased him. They chiseled his face off every wall. They smashed every statue of his likeness. They tore down his entire city, stone by stone, until nothing was left but sand. And for 3,000 years, his name was never spoken aloud. He became a ghost king, a hole in the records, a person who officially never existed. His name was Akhenaten, and he wasn't just a pharaoh. He was a man who tried to play God and lost. This is the story of the forbidden pharaoh and the city of ghosts. Welcome to Unheard History. For nearly 2,000 years, ancient Egypt was the most stable civilization on Earth. They had hundreds of gods: Osiris, Isis, Anubis, Amun. These gods were the foundation of their world. They were the reason the sun rose and the Nile flooded. Then came Amenhotep IV. He didn't look like a normal pharaoh. In the statues he commissioned, he had an elongated face, a protruding chin, a narrow waist, and wide feminine hips. He looked alien. And his mind was even stranger than his body. 5 years into his reign, he did the unthinkable. He declared that all the old gods were dead. The temples were closed. The priests were stripped of their power. The names of the gods were literally chiseled out of the stone. In their place, he installed a single faceless god, the Aten, the sun disk. He changed his name to Akhenaten, the servant of the Aten. He declared himself the only person on earth who could speak to this god. He wasn't just a king anymore. He was the leader of a cult that controlled the entire world. But Akhenaten knew that as long as he stayed in the old capital of Thebes, the ghosts of the old gods would haunt him. So he looked out into a barren, sun-scorched desert where nothing grew and no one lived. And he said, "We are building our new world here." The city was called Akhetaten, the horizon of the Aten. Today, we know it as Amarna. It was built with terrifying speed. Thousands of workers were forced into the desert to raise a city of white limestone and gold in a place where there was no water and no shade. They built massive temples that were open to the sky because Akhenaten's god didn't want to hide in the dark. He wanted to burn everything in his path. For 15 years, this was the center of the world. While the rest of the Egyptian empire was falling apart, while enemies were gathering at the borders and the economy was collapsing, Akhenaten was in his new city, writing poetry to the sun. He lived in a bubble of absolute religious obsession. Inside the walls of Amarna, art changed. It became raw, fluid, and disturbingly realistic. We see images of the pharaoh kissing his children, eating dinner with his wife Nefertiti, and basking under the hands of the sun disk. It looks beautiful. It looks intimate. But outside the palace walls, archaeology tells a darker story. When scientists excavated the graves of the ordinary people who lived in Amarna, they found a nightmare. The skeletons of children showed signs of severe malnutrition and stunted growth. The bones of the workers showed spinal fractures from carrying stones that were too heavy. Akhenaten was building a paradise for his god on a foundation of broken bones and starving children. He was a visionary to some, but to the people of Egypt, he was a monster. As the years passed, Akhenaten became more isolated. He stopped receiving ambassadors. He ignored his generals. He let the greatest military power in the world rot while he stared at the sun. Then, the plague arrived. A mysterious sickness swept through the city of Amarna. One by one, the royal family began to disappear from the records. His daughters, his secondary wives, even the legendary Nefertiti, the most famous face in history, suddenly vanishes from the story. The horizon of the Aten was becoming a city of the dying. In 1336 BC, Akhenaten himself died. The moment his heart stopped, the 3,000 years of Egyptian tradition he had tried to kill came roaring back with a vengeance. The people didn't mourn him. They revolted against his memory. His successor, a young boy named Aten, was forced to change his name. We know him today as Tutankhamun. The Aten was removed, Amen was restored. The court abandoned the city of Amarna. They left the white temples, the golden palaces, and the starving workers behind. They marched back to the old capital and left the city of the sun to be swallowed by the sand. But that wasn't enough for the people of Egypt. They didn't just want to leave him. They wanted to delete him.
Stop. I want you to think about what it takes to delete a person from history. In ancient Egypt, your soul only lived as long as your name was spoken and your face was visible. If your image was destroyed, you were dead forever. The pharaohs who followed Akhenaten launched a campaign of damnatio memoriae, the condemnation of memory. They sent stonecutters to every corner of Egypt. They found every statue of Akhenaten and smashed the faces with hammers. They found his name on the king lists and chiseled it out, leaving a blank space. They took the stones from his city and used them as rubble for the foundations of new temples to the old gods. They treated him like a cancer that had to be cut out of the body of Egypt. By the time they were done, no one remembered he existed. For 3,000 years, the golden age of the 18th dynasty ended with Amenhotep III and started again with Tutankhamun. The 17 years of Akhenaten were unheard until 1891, when a team of archaeologists found a tomb in the desert that shouldn't have been there. And what they found inside was a riddle that science is still trying to solve. When they found the royal tomb of Amarna, they found absolute desecration. The sarcophagus was smashed, the body was gone. But in a small hidden cache in the Valley of the Kings, known as KV55, they found a mummy that made their blood run cold. The coffin was royal, but the face had been ripped off. The gold nameplates had been chiseled away. The person inside had been buried with royal honors, but then someone had come back to ensure they would never have an afterlife. DNA testing in 2010 confirmed that this nameless body was the biological father of Tutankhamun. It was Akhenaten. They had found him, the alien pharaoh, the heretic, the man who tried to change the world. But even more disturbing was what they found in the ruins of his city. Archaeologists discovered that when the people left Amarna, they didn't just walk away. They left curse deposits.
They left images of the old gods facing the empty temples of the Aten as if to guard the ruins. They left evidence of a population that was terrified of the man they had served. Akhenaten had tried to bring light to Egypt, but he had left it in a state of spiritual trauma. He was a man who believed so strongly in his own truth that he was willing to let his empire burn to achieve it. He was the first individual in history, and history punished him for it with 3,000 years of silence. Akhenaten's story is a warning. It's a warning about the power of belief, and it's a warning about what happens when one man decides he is the only one who can see the light. He built a city of gold and limestone, and today it is a field of dust and broken pottery. He claimed his god was the only god, and today that god is a footnote in a textbook. But his face, that strange, elongated, haunting face, still stares at us from the shattered stone.
He was the Pharaoh Rome never knew, the king Egypt tried to kill. The truth isn't lost, Jay. It's just waiting for someone to dig it up. This is Unheard history. If this story of the forbidden Pharaoh fascinated you, subscribe, because our next journey takes us into the mouth of a different kind of monster. Good night.